Knock out the competition with Hollywood Filane Sportswear in your...
Today we're going to meet one of our customers, and he's going to explain to us a little bit of what his business is all about and how Hollywood Filane Sportswear has helped them out along the way.
Hello, my name's Joe Kosticki, and I'm the owner of Mighty Mitch and Jungle Joe's Jig Flies. It's a father-son business that we started roughly 7 years ago with my son Mitchell. And how it all started was I used to buy these Jig Flies at Lawrence Cameras and DNR Sporting Goods in Thunder Bay. Oh God, 15 years ago roughly. I'm a big fan of fishing, and a guy by the name of Dan Klatt from Nipigon, Ontario used to make them, and he stopped making them, and they were hard to find anywhere. So what I did was I decided to learn how to tie the fly, and I used a Jig Fly pattern which Dan Klatt used to make, and this is one of the original Dan Klatt Jig Flies. Over the years, when I first started, the Jig Flies weren't really that good because I was just learning, but they progressively got better and better. And now today, thanks to the help of Roger Mayer from Thunder Bay Fishing, I have 13 stores in Ontario and 2 in the United States that sell my Jig Flies. We go to sporting goods shows. We donate money to different charities, women's breast cancer, which we make a pink Jig Fly, and the money stays here in Northern Ontario. Some of my best Jig Flies are the cockatouche Jig Fly, which imitates a scalping in Lake Nipigon. And these are big sellers to the fishermen that are trout fishermen for brook trout. I also make the crayfish pattern for bass tournament fishermen, and I sponsor a guy by the name of Darryl Riley out of Thunder Bay, Ontario, and he's a tournament bass fisherman. I make them from a 1/16 ounce head up to a 1 ounce head, and these are for lake trout and salmon, and they have the titanium hooks that are really sharp and strong. This is the smelt pattern, or the Cisco, and this is very popular in Lake Superior and Lake Nipigon. One of the lodges out of Red Rock, the Quebec Lodge, is a big buyer of these, and they do quite well. Right now with my 13 stores in Ontario, they've been doing really well, and I've also got into the clothing line over the past, I'd say almost 7 years since I started. Hollywood Filane supplies me with my clothing, my hats, my shirts, jackets that I sell directly out of his store, the jackets, the hats that I take to the shows and sell there. And I've sold quite a few. Actually, the women's pink camo hats are a big item for me when I go to the sporting goods shows. Last year, Hollywood did a boat for me and did all my deckling, and just turned out beautiful. And hopefully when this is all done, he's going to put it up and show people around how it turned out. In the last 5 years, I've been in the Ontario Out of Doors magazine. Gord Ellis, who has written numerous articles about my Jig Flies, as you can see, one in the mouth, this nice brook trout that he caught, was a really nice article. Last month I had an article in the Thunder Bay paper, and you gotta get jiggy on Jig Flies. And this is Gord's dad, Gord Sr., using one of my Jig Flies and some of my new patterns that I've been making. Very popular for the brook trout fishermen. Like I say, I make these Jig Flies for all species, walleye, trout, bass, and they've really taken off. I've got stores in Sault Ste. Marie. In the United States, I've got Ryden's Gas Bar, the last stop before you come into Ontario. They just started selling them there. This week I've got a store out of Hornpain, Ontario that's selling them, G&L Variety. There's 2 stores in Scriber that sell them, Western Tire and Severio's Hardware. And Nipigon, I've got 3 stores. Nipigon's really big because of Lake Nipigon, especially with the Jig Fly. Here's an article that Gord wrote in the Pêcher magazine in Quebec, and I get a lot of online orders from Quebec. My website is www.mmjjjigflies.com. That's Mighty Mitch and Jungle Joe's Jig Flies. My clothing line, like I said, Hollywood Supplies. As you can see here, the logo, Mighty Mitch and Jungle Joe, the picture of the fish. And on most of my arms, I have a little logo that says, "You bite, you die." Not necessarily in that terms, but a lot of fish that we do catch are put back. For those of you who've never used Jig Flies, I recommend give them a try because they're awesome. You don't need no bait with them. You can troll them, cast them, ice fish with them. And most of my clientele that I sell them to have done really well with them. Actually, my website has taken off so much I've sold these all over the world, as far as Mexico, Peru. People that fish for peacock bass in different countries have done quite well, and they've reordered them. Just this past, since yesterday, I had 4 online orders, one out of Quebec, and because of Gord Ellis and Pêche magazine, and it's done very, very well. I don't know what else I can say. It's been a real honor for me to have friends in the fishing business that have helped me out, and even Dom himself for doing his clothing line has been a really success for me at going to the sporting goods shows. So I'd like to thank Dom at this time for giving me this opportunity to share my story, and I hope it continues on. What is a jig fly? A jig fly is a weighted piece of lead that is painted, eyes are put on, deer hair is used, peacock curl. This is squirrel, and the hair is dyed. There's pheasant hackle in there and colors, flashaboo and crystal flash. So it in the ultraviolet rays from the lake waters, it'll show up in sparkles. This certain jig fly is called the cockatouche, and how it works is when you're reeling in, this closes, and as you stop your retrieve, it opens up and puffs, similar to the cockatouche, which is a scalping. Very, very productive for brook trout. In the other patterns that I make, they all have a meaning to them. The bass ones, the crayfish in the orange and the black, is also a very good jig fly for tournament bass fishermen. But that's what a jig fly is. It's a weighted jig that's been painted specific colors. Certain fishermen like them in different patterns and different colors, and I'll make them to their satisfaction for what they like. So that's what a jig fly is. Thank you. This jig fly here is one of the original Dan Klatt jig flies. What we do is we use a 3-step epoxy coating of paint. First the primer, then the paint coat, and then a clear coat. The thread is tied with a uni thread, very strong, multiple choices of colors. We use deer hair, you'll see in the white, the orange, and the green, peacock curl, and this is pheasant hackle. If you see the flash there, that is called a holographic flashaboo with some crystal flash in there which reflect off the ultraviolet rays of the waters. This jig fly here is the crawdad, or the crayfish. Very popular with bass tournament fishermen. It has the crawdad colors in it. This is a Pacific different head style. This is the egg head. This is the bullet head. This is called the Anvil Head Jig Fly. It's a 1 ounce and very popular for salmon fishing and lake trout fishing. You can troll them, cast them, jig them. These specific hooks are made out of titanium, very, very strong. This jig fly is called the smelt pattern, which is very popular in Lake Superior and Lake Nipigon. This jig fly here is the smelt pattern, or the Cisco. If you look and you see there's a holographic flash that has the similar stripes of the smelt down its side. It's made of a deer hair in the white and black, and holographic flashaboo with a crystal flash in there. Very popular in Lake Nipigon and Lake Superior. This jig fly that with the anvil head is nice also. if you are fishing and you just want to bring your lure down to the bottom, the head stands up, and very good for ice fishing also. The cockatouche, which is one of my most famous patterns that I make my own. There is no other style like this jig fly around. I started with this design a few years back, and it has become very, very popular. I make them for walleye, for trout, for bass, for just about every species you can think of, and nothing but the best of equipment that I use, and the products are very, very good. The hooks don't rust because they're not made of a bronze. Like I said, they're a titanium or a stainless steel or a gold, and very popular. This hook here with the red is called the blood red hook, and that little bit of red there imitates the blood of a injured minnow, or like I said, a crayfish, or a cockatouche, which is a scalping. So that's it on the Jig Fly, and that's what they are. They're just weighted, lead, painted, and very popular. Thank you.